And for Jared Walker, who's coming up today, that was my fangirl moment. This guy gets it. This guy understands what's going on for patients, and he's relevant, right? He's using his voice and advocating on such a large platform right now. So I'm thrilled that he's here. I'm thrilled that he's come to learn. So I hope that you guys really enjoy his presentation. Come on, I'm gonna bring you in a little early. Guys, I'm gonna give it up for Jared Walker. Please give him a big round of applause.
Thank you so much.
It's all you, man.
Okay, here we go. Yo, everybody, how's it going? Good, good. Okay, so if you're in the back over here, chilling at these booths, you're not doing anything, get over here. I was there yesterday, nothing's happening. Everybody's over here. So, how do I do this? Boom, all right, got my mic. My name is Jared Walker. I started an organization called $4. We crush medical bills. And literally the only reason I'm here is because I posted a TikTok video that lives, so people seem to have liked the video, which is great. I'm just riding that wave as long as I can. So I want to talk a little bit about my journey with $4 and I guess into like patient advocate work, which I'm kind of learning what that actually means at this conference. So that's been cool. So I'll dive right in. $4 started, I first had the idea in 2012. Boom, it works. I watched my own family go through a medical crisis. My wife woke up to a phone call in 2012. Her aunt had passed away from cancer, and we're processing that. And about 10 minutes later, I get a phone call, and my cousin had gone into labor 7 weeks premature. Baby needed heart surgery to live and had a whole bunch of other complications. So within just a few minutes, both of our families were kind of hit with a medical crisis, and all anybody could talk about was how are we gonna pay for it? And it just made me furious that was the big conversation. But that's pretty much how it works. Like you have a medical crisis, and then you have a financial crisis. And I wanted to be able to help people in that situation and take off the financial burden that a medical crisis can cause. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm not the only person in the world that got a phone call like this today. This has got to be super common. Where can I volunteer? What organizations are out there that are helping patients relieve those? And I knew that there was a whole bunch of great organizations doing, other type of work, but nobody paying the bills. So that was a little weird that I couldn't find any organizations doing it. And I started Googling, okay, maybe this isn't that big of a deal. Like, let me hop on Google and see, like, what are the stats around medical debt? So I started looking it up, and it was a big deal. It's like, at the time, this is 2012, and the stats have remained mostly the same. 65% of bankruptcies in America are because of medical bills. 78% of these people had insurance. But the one that really stuck out to me was it was like 85% of people that declare bankruptcy because of medical bills, it is on bills that are less than $10,000. And that really struck me because I'm thinking bankruptcy, like this is hundreds of thousands of dollars, like this is a big thing, and that just wasn't the case. So I'm thinking, okay, I don't have $10,000 to help a family out, but maybe I can get 10,000 people to give $1. So, brilliant idea. That's kind of how it started. And I wanted to create a cool giving community. People that sign up for recurring monthly donations. Every month we'd make a little video, would tell the story of the family we're helping, and then we would pool all the money together and help a family out and pay their medical bills. So that's how it started. And there was another thing, I wanted to help people in this, medical crisis with their bills, but I also kind of wanted to shake up the charity world because every nonprofit experience I'd ever had was not a great one. I don't care about golf tournaments or charity galas, and I wanted to do something a little bit different. So started $4, and it was actually $4 Portland. I grew up in Portland. I still live I live in Vancouver, Washington now, but I grew up in Portland. So we were helping people in the Portland metro area. And I went out and found a family that needed some help. We threw a little benefit concert, had a party, people showed up, the news showed up, and people liked it. It was, it was a cool idea. People wanted to, engage the community and help people in their community. So everything was going great until I started getting questions. People were asking me like, well, are you a 501c3? Who's on your board? And I'm like, well, I don't know what that is. So no, I'm not. I need to take a huge step back and kind of figure out what was going on. So in 2015, we officially launched Dollar for Portland. We got our 501c3 and everything was kind of ready to rock. So that's kind of how we started. And we grew out of coffee shops and breweries in Portland, Oregon. People would sign up for $1 a month or $5 a month or whatever, and they'd get free beer or free coffee or whatever. And that's kind of how we grew this community of a few thousand people. Everybody would give, we'd pool the money and help people out with their medical bills. So we're helping people, every month we're helping one family. And I wanted to expand the impact. I wanted to help more people. But I couldn't get, 1 million people to sign up in Portland. So I had an attorney on our board, and he was telling me, hey, you should check out these charity care policies. I think that we could get a lot of these medical bills waived. And at the time, we were partnering with local organizations trying to find families that needed help. And I'm thinking, okay, I've never heard of this charity care stuff, financial assistance through hospitals. I've been paying medical bills this whole time. And I had a patient that needed some help with their medical bills, and I said, let's give it a try. So we filled out the paperwork for this guy, sent it in, started calling the hospital, checking in, and I got a call a couple weeks later from the patient, and he said, hey, I just got this letter from the hospital. I've got a zero balance. He had a $10,000 medical bill, and it was completely wiped. So I'm thinking, what the hell have I been doing this whole time? Like, I've been paying medical bills. Literally, I've been paying medical bills for these patients that they all of the medical bills that I'd been paying over the years could be waived through charity care. And I just had no idea that it was a thing. And I feel like nobody knows. So I'm like, this is like the best kept secret ever. And I still feel like that. So I'm shouting it from the rooftops. I'm saying, hey, everybody, this is a huge deal. We need to talk about this. Why isn't anyone talking about this? And so I started talking to reporters and journalists, and they're like, oh, yeah, we've heard of that. That's cool. But do you have any stories of people with surprise medical bills? Let's talk about that. And I'm like, well, yeah, I've got 1 million of those, but there's a bigger story here. We should be talking about this charity care and what that means. And they didn't want to talk about it. So I get a phone call one day. Oh, and by the way, in the first 8 months of doing this, we were just finding families. We weren't advertising this at all. We just had partner organizations, and we were finding families word of mouth, and we crushed over $1 million in medical bills in the first 8 months without promoting it at all. And it was just, oh yeah, thanks. And I remember getting this call, and it was the Washington State Insurance Commissioner, and they were like, hey, we have this family that needs some help, and we heard that maybe you could help us out with their medical bills. I'll say that again. The Washington State Insurance Commissioner called me to see if I could help with a medical bill, which is the dumbest thing in the world. But it was this family. So this woman had a $460,000 medical bill. She was sent to the hospital because she had a heart attack. They sent her to another hospital that was out of network, and they slapped her with a $460,000 medical bill. So the insurance commissioner was able to get the insurance company to so generously cover half, and Dollar4 took care of the rest, got her applied for charity care, sent in the paperwork, and they did not have to pay anything. So we got an article up in Time, which is dope. And I'm thinking, this is it. This is taken off. This is it. I've been saying this forever, and I'm going to get calls from all these other news stations, and finally people are going to be talking about this charity care stuff. And I was right. I got a phone call from Good Morning America. I got a call from Consumer Reports, LA Times, and it was like, hey, we saw the story in Time. Do you have any other stories like that with surprise medical bills? I'm like, yes, I do, but we should be talking about this other thing that I've been telling you all about forever. Why isn't anybody talking about it? So I'm super frustrated. And it is 2020 at the time, Thanksgiving. And my sister's in town. She's saying, hey, Jared, you got to get on TikTok. TikTok people would love $4. And I'm thinking, hell no, I'm not getting on TikTok. I can't keep up with Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, whatever. And I hate making content. Like, it's the worst. So I tell her no. And then Christmas time rolls around. She comes back in town. She says, hey, are you on TikTok yet? I said, no, but you know what? I'll give it a go. 2021 is the year of the TikTok. We're going to go for it. I'm going to post a video, whatever. So I'm working late one night. I have had several drinks. I'm at the office. And I hop on TikTok and I see this video.
What's a piece of information that you learned that feels illegal to know?
What's a piece of information that you've learned that feels illegal to know? And I'm thinking, I know this one. Like, I know the answer. I have it. It's freaking charity care. So I hop on and I post this video.
What's a piece of information that you learned that feels illegal to know?
Most hospitals in America are nonprofits, which means they have to have financial assistance or charity care policies. This is going to sound weird, but what that means is that if you make under a certain amount of money, the hospital legally has to forgive your medical bills. Let me show you how this works. Type in the hospital name with financial assistance after it. Should be the top link. Let's check. What you want to do is look for financial assistance applications and policies. Let's check the policy. From here, what you're looking for is a sliding scale benefits. So right here, 0 to 300% of the federal poverty guidelines, they will forgive 100% of your medical bills. So you can see here that 300% of the federal poverty guidelines is $37,470. So if you make under that amount, the hospital will legally forgive your medical bills. And if you're a larger household, you can check it out from here. If you want to test it out, I run a nonprofit that does this, so DM me and I will actually do it for you. Let's see if we can crush those medical bills.
Okay, so I get thanks. TikTok is so dumb. It's so funny to me. I mean, I love it, but it's ridiculous. So I post that Friday night. I go to sleep. I wake up to a text from my little sister that says, told you. And I was like, what is going on? So I hop on TikTok. The video has like 50,000 views. So I was like, whoa, I literally had 2 followers at that point. It was my little sister and like some bot. So I was not expecting anybody to see this video. And like a freaking idiot, I tell people like, oh, if you need help, just DM me and I'll do it for you. And I put my phone down, I refreshed the page, 10 minutes later, it has 100,000 views. And I was like, okay, I don't know what is gonna happen here, but somebody takes a video, they post it to Twitter, they post it to Instagram, it's on Reddit, it's on social media platforms I'd never freaking heard of. The video has been seen over 30 million times now, and I don't know. Because of that video, we've gotten over $8 million. Man, I don't ever get emotional about this stuff, but over $8 million in medical bills has been wiped away because of this stupid freaking video. And thanks. But I have all these freaking DMs, and I'm like, what is going on? I'm scrolling through, and literally TikTok kicked me out of TikTok because they thought I was a bot because I'm trying to respond to all these messages, and it's on TikTok and Instagram and Twitter, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. I called my niece. She's like 14. I was like, yo, I need you to come to the office and just copy and paste this shit. Like, I need people to send them to the website. We'll figure it out. So we're completely overwhelmed. And again, like at this time, we're in the Pacific Northwest. We're helping people in Oregon and Washington. Like, I'm getting requests from every state, all over the country. can you help me with my medical bills? Can you do this? Can you, and I don't know why I said, we'll crush those medical bills, whatever, but that just became a thing. Everyone, like all the messages were like, can you crush my medical bills? And it's like, okay, I guess this is a thing now. So we're completely overwhelmed. At the time, we had a little program on our website where you could, it was every hospital in Oregon and Washington. It had their charity care policies where a patient could put in their household income, household size, what hospital, and it would tell them what they're eligible for according to that hospital's policy, but it was only in Oregon and Washington. So I'm gonna ask you all this. Before this video, how many would say that you're really familiar with charity care policies and what those do? How many would say, like, this is new-ish information? Maybe I've heard of it, maybe I haven't. Okay, that's wild to me. We're gonna talk all about it in just a little bit. So we're swamped until I get an email from 2 angels, and just super nerds. Like, they're the coolest people ever, but they were like, hey, we need to figure this out. We need to help you scale. So they organized a group of 50 volunteers that gathered the financial assistance policy data for every hospital in the country, put it in this web tool. Now a patient can go to our website and put in their household size, income, what hospital holds the debt, and it will tell them exactly what they're eligible for according to that hospital's policy. We fill out the paperwork, we send it into the hospital, and then we bother the hospital until the bills are gone. So in the last 6 weeks, that's when that web tool went live. It took us a while to find these freaking hospital policies because they're hard to find sometimes. And in the last 6 weeks, we've had $65 million of medical bills submitted through our website. And we are not even scratching the surface. Like, we are just getting started. And to illustrate that, I've made this super helpful graph that shows you that we aren't even freaking close to doing anything. $62 million doesn't even touch what's out there. And we're at the point where we just stopped posting videos and stuff because we just get overloaded every time we do. So we're just trying to meet the need that we have right now. I don't know, I don't think it's gonna slow down. So anyways, what's next for $4? I have no idea, but I can tell you this. Charity care is the lowest hanging fruit to help patients, and I don't even think it's close. I think that this is the best kept secret. This is something that went into effect over 10 years ago with the Affordable Care Act. Every nonprofit hospital has to have these policies in order to keep their nonprofit status, and all you have to do is fill out the paperwork and hound the hospital until they honor it. And there are so many people out there that need this information, and we literally have millions of people that are on payment plans or declaring bankruptcy because of medical bills they don't have to pay. Every person in this room knows someone that has medical bills that could be waived through these programs, and I bet you that there are people in this room that have medical bills that could get waived. They're more generous than you think. A lot of people just assume, like, well, I don't qualify for food stamps, so I'm not gonna qualify for these programs. You'd be surprised. So, one critique of $4 has been like, well, if you're really trying to eliminate medical bills, why aren't you more involved in policy, and why aren't you trying to, change healthcare? And I would say that we are. And this is how. For decades, people have been trying to change this, spending millions and millions of dollars, and we're still freaking here. We have people that are declaring bankruptcy, can't pay their medical bills, or on payment plans for medical bills they don't have to pay. And I think that $4 right now, yeah, we want to crush as many medical bills as we can right now, but we need to empower patients and raise an army of patient advocates that can help these people along the way. I want to be an organization that can do everything start to finish. So a patient reaches out, they're overwhelmed, they're in the middle of a medical crisis, they're not thinking about what paperwork they should fill out because they shouldn't have to think about that. So they can come to $4 and we can hold their hand until the medical bills are gone, but also I don't want to have to force people into this like $4 pipeline. I want to create content and educational stuff that empowers patients so they know that they can do this on their own, because they can. I have received hundreds of messages from people say, hey, I saw your video. I just got $100,000. Geez, what's going on? $100,000 in medical bills waived for my mom because I saw your video. There's so many people that need this information. It is hard to find. They do not make it easy. But we can help. So anyways, I'm going to stop rambling on. $4, we're here. We're going to crush medical bills. We're also trying to raise an army of patient advocates and train patients so they can do this themselves. And here's what's next. Here's my big ask of you. And I run a nonprofit, so of course I'm going to get up here and ask you all to do something. If you are interested in this, we need volunteers. We need patient advocates. When someone reaches out to us and says, hey, I've got medical bills, they reach out to us, it creates an open ticket. And if you're a volunteer and we train, we'll do all the training with you. You can pick up that ticket and you can crush medical bills whenever. So we need volunteers. If that's interesting to you, go to $4.org, hit the volunteer tab. Every month we do volunteer trainings, and we are just telling as many people as we possibly can about these programs. So the next thing is you can give. We partnered up with the Summit, and if you text HAS 2021 to 26989, you can sign up for a monthly donation. Every dollar donated crushes $50 of medical debt for patients that need it. And we're going to track the impact that this room has over however long y'all want to sign up. So if you sign up for a recurring gift every month, you'll get little updates on people that we've been able to help, patients we've been able to get their medical bills wiped away. So that's $4. That's what we're doing. Thank you all so much. I want to open it up to questions, if that's okay. If you have questions about medical bills, charity care, I would love to chat with you all about it. Get out of here. Thank you. Whatever, I got 7 minutes. I'm going to take them. So here's a couple things with charity care that have blown my mind over the years. So I live in Washington State. Washington State has a state law that makes the federal law a little bit better. And so in Washington, let's say that you have a medical bill, it's $10,000, and you've been on a payment plan for several years. This happened, had a single mom, was trying to pay off this $10,000 medical bill. She'd been on a payment plan for 2 years. She'd paid off half of it. And then she finds me. I say, hey, you qualify for this program. I'm going to get the hospital to waive your medical bills. And I'm going to get them to cut you a check for the $5,000 that you paid for the last 2 years. And you can do that in Washington. You can do it in other states as well. So not only can you get the medical bills waived, you can get the hospital to waive it and cut you a check for the money that you've paid over the years. How dope is that? Like, that's the coolest thing ever. That's a huge swing for, well, it was for the patient that I was helping at the time. There's a million stories like that, and there's so many little things about charity care that I'd love to dive into it with you all if you have questions. Anyways, does anybody have questions? Yo. Okay, we got questions. Hit me. Hopefully I can answer it.
Okay, many of the hospitals around by us require assets and asset documentation. How do you manage that with your patients?
Oh my gosh, okay.
Jared, just a little paperwork, baby.
I know, it's just a little paperwork.
Here he goes.
Some hospitals are annoying, and they want, well, okay, so usually the charity care application is like 2 pages, really. It's like, who are you? How much money do you make? Who lives in your house? How much money do they make? And then they'll ask you questions. Sometimes they'll ask you about your freaking car. It'll be like, what car do you drive? You put in those assets or whatever. 99% of all the patients that reach out to us don't have any other assets. It's like they have their car, they're paying rent, whatever. So we don't, like, we have to submit proof of income, 3 months of bank statements, 3 months of pay stubs, last year's tax return. We submit all that with their application, and usually that's just fine. Now, obviously, if you have like a second home or something like that, you have to include that and tell the hospital all the other things. Is that what you're asking about? How do you, yeah, so they can upload that through our online portal. So we've created a digital application. We took all of the hospital's applications. We found the most popular questions, put it into one digital application. People can fill it out, and then they'll upload their documents there, and then we submit it to the hospital. And submitting it to the hospital can be another annoying thing. Sometimes they'll say you can only fax. Sometimes they'll say the only way to submit this is if you walk it in to our hospital. Other times they'll say, oh yeah, you want an application? We'll send it to you in 7 to 10 business days, and then you get to print all your shit out and mail it. So it just depends. Most of them have fax machines though, which is lovely. Does that answer your question? Okay, perfect. Any other questions?
Oh, I'm coming. Let me get through these tight-knit chairs over here.
You can just shout them at me too. I can hear you. Whatever's easy.
You're my hero as well.
Oh, thank you.
I have a question. I work for a military hospital.
Yup.
And we're a trauma center. So we have patients that come in that are not eligible because they're not military.
Mm-hmm.
So they end up with humongous bills from our facility.
Yeah.
And they're on payment plans. How do you work with those in that situation when you're dealing with a military Department of Defense hospital?
Yeah, that's a tough question. We've had a few of those. And it sucks because the answer is it depends. It depends on the hospital. Some of the military hospitals I've worked at do have these policies, and some don't. So if they do, we fill out the paperwork, we send it in. If not, then we usually write a financial hardship letter. If you're filling these out, always include a letter. Write a letter. Real humans read these letters. And if you tell them, hey, this is what's going on, this is my situation, this is a hardship for me and my family, you can, I've gotten medical bills waived that should not have been waived just because we wrote good letters and sent it in. So that would be another way to do it. Yeah, I don't have the best answer for that because it's so dependent on what hospital. So if your hospital had a policy like that, then I would read it over and see what they offer. A lot of times too, patients, most of these hospitals will say something like, okay, if you make this much money, you're eligible. Or if your medical bill exceeds, let's say, 20% of your gross annual income, then you can also be eligible for financial assistance. So this idea that people get $230,000 medical bills or whatnot, is the craziest thing, because even if they make too much money, that medical bill is probably going to be 20% or more, of their gross annual income. So that's another thing that you can call them out on, like, hey, you have this policy, because they'll tell you, oh, you're over income, but if you say, yeah, well, look at the size of the medical bill, that's another way around that. Hopefully, that's not a great answer to your question. I apologize.
Oh.
Anybody else? Yo. Give him the mic. I like it.
Hi.
Hello.
I had a client that had an accident, and he retained me for, advocacy services. And he reached out to me, and he got a huge bill from the hospital, and he wanted to see if I could help him, at least reduce his payment. So I did, and he filled out all the paperwork, and they only reduced a portion of it. So the other portion, he actually was on a payment plan. So now, with those type of clients, can they go back, even if you're on a payment plan with the hospital, go back and wipe that away? How does that work?
So you're saying he already was approved for a certain percentage of discount,
Yes.
but he's still paying. So if his income has changed, absolutely. Fill it out again and say, hey, my income's changed, wipe the rest of this out. I've done that millions of times, not millions of times. I've done that a lot. So people, when you get approved for charity care, you usually get 6 months. So it'll be like, you are approved at whatever level. So if it's a common policy will be like, we'll waive 100% of your medical bills if you're at or below 300% of the federal poverty guidelines. And if you are anywhere from 300 to 400%, we will give you a sliding scale discount, which is probably what the client got. And then any medically necessary treatment in the next 6 months will be covered at whatever that amount. After those 6 months are done, you can just apply again. And if your income changes, if your income drops, you can apply again and say, hey, my income changed. I want you to revisit this. And you can also appeal it. Like sometimes hospitals will try to give you this discount, and then you look at it and you're like, but I am eligible for 100%. Like, just appeal it. And appealing can be annoying. You just have to call and talk to the right person and say, how do I appeal this? They always have a process. You just have to be annoying.
Okay.
And I'm great at that.
So what happens if they have gone like through a creditor? Let's say that the client doesn't pay their bills because they can't afford it, and then they go, to a creditor. How do you work with the creditor, or how does that work with this?
Great question. So this is the most popular question. What happens if it's in collections? You have 240 days to fill out financial assistance no matter what. That's the federal minimum. Or at least that's what the IRS has defined as a reasonable amount of time that the hospital can give you to fill these paperwork out. But they will send your ass to collections after 120 days. You still have another 120 days to fill out the paperwork, even if it's in collections. The hospital can pull it out of collections just as easy as they put it there. So I have patients all the time that think like, I'm in collections, game over, there's nothing I can do. That is not the case. And it depends on the state too. In Washington, I can get bills that are 4, 5, 6 years old waived. And then there are hospitals in California, Sharp Medical Center is one of them. They will waive it all the way until a judgment is made against you. And they're like, they'll waive bills that are 7, 8 years old. So you just have to dig into the policy. Or you can hit me up, DM me. Just kidding, don't do that. Any other questions? Yo. Yeah. Okay, yeah, what hospital is it?
Henry Ford.
Okay, yeah, so I'm over time too, is that okay?
No, you're not. You're not going to repeat it. So I'm just going to repeat what she said. She said her policy for her hospital is a year. Is that correct? 1 year.
Yeah, so some hospitals, they can always make it more generous. So 240 days is just the federal minimum, but there are hospitals, like I said, that will go all the way up to years, and they'll make it even better. So, way to go. That's a good policy. I mean, it's better. Like 240 days is great. The other thing too is you can also fight it. Like if it's after the 240 days, you can always come out to the hospital and say, hey, like I know that I'm over the 240 days, but nobody told me that this was a thing. Like, can you look into this? And depending on how old it is, you can get it waived. Anyways, any other questions?
Yep, we do right here.
Thank you. Yeah, so I know you're referring, well, one, you said 2 angels came to you, but you're probably the angel, right, that came to all of us to help these patients.
Yeah.
But you're talking about a lot of charity care for hospitals, but how do you work and support or partner with community-based practices that don't have the ability to give all this money and give it away because we can't really treat patients at the end of the day if we do that?
Great question. I guess the short answer is I don't have a plan for that right now because right now it's like we are enforcing these hospital charity care policies. There are a few things about it, like when you go to a hospital, you'll get a hospital bill, radiology, anesthesia, like all the different providers. Whatever the hospital approves, you can forward that approval letter to all of the other providers. They'll usually waive it at the same level that the hospital does. So even if a patient should get out, if they're eligible, they should get out with 0 out of pocket because all of the other providers should also honor the policy. But as far as like private clinics, there's certain things that I just can't get covered, and I'm trying to figure that out. I have people all the time asking me about dental. I have no idea what to do with dental. Physical therapy, I have no idea what to do with physical therapy. Like, they're just things that I don't know the answers to yet. So that's a shitty answer to your question. Sorry, I don't have a good answer.
Jared, when we spoke earlier, you said that you were taking on volunteers, and you were trying to explain to us that you have pretty much you have a webinar that you're doing where you just go through like this boot camp of what it takes to be a volunteer, just this, and then you can go to, like, that's information anybody can get. It would be valuable. And then you've got phase 2, like, do you actually want to help? And if you do, here's this other course. Is that something that anybody can take regardless of your role? And I think it would be a great education opportunity, because when we were discussing, I mean, I worked in the health system for over 10 years, and I learned more from you than me trying to, you know, recover $1 million a month in an infusion center for, you know, patients, just the drug. I was only focused on the drug part. I never saw the after effect because we crushed it right at the infusion center, so it never got to you. But
I love it.
anything you can give on that, because I thought that was interesting. Is this something that we can partner up with and put, you know, streamed on our website and to get others here? Because I think not only the people in the hospitals, but the people who are out in the field need to understand the charity care policies, just as an overall understanding of how those health systems work.
Yeah, so the first Thursday of every month, we do a little volunteer community hangout. The second Thursday of every month, we do a level 1 patient advocate charity care boot camp, whatever you want to call it. There's no obligation at all to volunteer with $4. This is literally just like, this is the info, take it, use it, get medical bills waived for your friends, family, yourself, whatever. And then just tell us about it. Like, I want to know, I want to hear about the impact, because that's the best part. And then the third Thursday of every month, we do a level 2 training, where we will actually, if somebody is so inspired after doing like the patient advocate level 1 charity care stuff, then they can fill out a background check, privacy policy, and we'll do like in-depth dive in, show them how to do it, or at least how we do it on our system. We have a system called HubSpot that we use. So that's like our ticketing system. We have to assign everybody emails and all that. So if you want, you can get involved at that level. But really, we do a monthly call that I will absolutely share with, I don't know where you went.
Boo.
And everybody can hop on that once a month. And we just answer questions and talk about charity care and whatnot. I mean, it's fun. And I think that we're doing that on next Thursday, the first one.
Oh, that's right. Okay, we got one more over here.
Whatever that is.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So, what if the patient is Medicaid and they are still in a nursing home facility?
Okay,
How does that work?
So they're getting bills from
yes.
a nursing facility.
Yes.
So that would be another one where it just depends. Does the nursing facility have a policy? If they do, apply. So it would just. I'm trying to think of if there's a better answer to that. It sucks because a lot of these answers like, well, it depends. It depends on the hospital.
They're already eating the cost a little bit because he's a Medicaid on a Medicaid bed, and it's $275 a day for that particular facility. So
regardless of if they have Medicaid or not, like if the hospital or the facility does have a policy, they should honor it even if they have Medicaid. Like I've had a ton of people that are on Medicaid that still get charity care for whatever the out-of-pocket is. Hospitals will have these things like the fine print in these policies will be one, the 240 days thing, like this is how long you have. The other one is, do you have insurance? There are some hospitals that will just say, if you have any type of insurance, you don't qualify. And we fight that each time because it's annoying. But there's a whole bunch of these little things that are like, well, if you have some type of insurance, if you have, I don't know. There's a whole bunch of little things about the policies. Sorry, that's not a great answer to the question again. Anything else? We good? I'm over time.
No, hey, wait. We're going to say.
Yeah.
We're going to say thank you, and I'm actually going to hand it off to Elizabeth.
down. Oh, okay, so Jared, I'm so thrilled that you came. That was incredible. So one huge round of applause for Jared. That was fantastic.
Thank you.
High five, buddy. All right. Y'all, I'm so excited. I couldn't wait to see him speak live.